the pocket left or you roll the pocket right, because he didn't have the proper coaching to be able to successfully navigate through reading the way Mike Shanahan wanted him to. So Mike will roll the pocket out. That's what great coaches do. Now, when you have what we have is a deficiency at great coaching in the National Football League now, because they keep trying to fit square pegs into round holes. That's why you don't get the most out of Steve Young. You don't get the most out of Vince Young. Maybe, just maybe, you could have got more out of Tim Tebow, because Tim Tebow is a leader. And even though I'm not a fan, and I was like, man, this dude sucks ass. Somehow, some way, Tim Tebow was doing something in the locker room. You never heard any of his teammates say anything bad about him. And when you can galvanize the troops, I honestly believe that's 80% of the process. Now, if you have a more creative coach, you can you can put Tim Tebow in a situation to whereas he's exclusively throwing what's good for him. The reason I didn't come up with this philosophy. The reason I've bought into this philosophy is a dude by the name of Bill Walsh, who's considered the greatest offensive mind in modern football. He said, and I quote, and if you listen to the show before, you heard me reference this. Bill Walsh said they removed all the plays from the West Coast offense that Joe Montana didn't run well. You hear me? What Joe didn't do, we're not gonna call those plays. And we're going to construct the offense that's good for Joe. Now, Joe had that swag. They call it swag now. Whatever you want to call it, Joe had it. And Bill went on to win 3 Super Bowls. And you got that birth. Mike Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, Mike McCarthy, that bum-ass John Gruden out there in Oakland, and dozens of other coaches who've won. Andy Reid, who's doing it down there in Kansas City, who birthed Doug Peterson, who's doing it with the Bill Walsh plan and won the Super Bowl last year. And throughout history, you can see the fingerprints on great coaches on every other coach. Here's an example. Vince Lombardi, the dude that they named the Super Bowl trophy after, is a mentor to Tom Landry, multiple Super Bowl coach. Tom Landry was that whack-ass Mike Dicker's mentor, Dan Reeves' mentor, and I could go on and on. Oh, by the way, Bill Parcells was also under the tutelage of Vince Lombardi, who was under the tutelage of Bill Parcells, Big Bill Belichick. Creative coaches. The reason I'm bringing this up is they've been kicking Dak Prescott, cleaning his ass all week. Troy Aikman came out, dissed the man. Every announcer, and that's the problem with mainstream media now. Every announcer will step up and just go along with what the last dude said or a different variation. This is why Shannon Sharpe is so successful at his job, because sometimes Shannon Sharpe will go along with status quo, but when you hear Shannon Sharpe speak, much like your boy, you know that's how he feels. Back to the Dak Prescott thing. All summer and spring, all I heard was the Dallas Cowboys did not address the wide receiver position. Jason Witten has retired. Their offense is going to be shit. They're not going to be able to do anything. Look, how can you expect a young quarterback to do this, that, and the third? Now, how is it that 6 months later, Dak Prescott is the problem? Now, let's just go around the league. You got Jared Goff, who was considered after his first 16 games one of the worst picks ever. But he gets Sean McVay. Sean McVay develops him, creates a game plan around Jason Goff, start giving the ball to Todd Gurley more, and gets weapons like Benjamin and Cook, and the rest is history. He looks like a real quarterback now. He created an environment for this young boy so that dude could be successful. Walk it to him Wentz, Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson, under the tutelage of Andy Reid, who was under the tutelage of Mike Holmgren, who was under the tutelage of Bill Walsh, a dude who was a innovative offensive, what is called an offensive genius. And guess what? Create an environment so your players can excel in them. What did they do with Carson Wentz? They see he had a lot of talent. And what did they do? They went and got Alshon Jeffries. They went and got Mike Wallace. And they went and got a whole bunch of weapons, Aaron Sproles and a bunch of other guys, to make his job easier. And now we sing the praises of these guys. You go down to Kansas City, back to the coaching tree, back to creativity. You got Tyreek Hill. You got, I can't think of the running back right now. If anybody can think of the running back down there in Kansas City, let me know. You got you got Watson. You got all these weapons down there. Kelser. You got all these weapons down there in Kansas City. And look, lo and behold, Patrick Mahomes is looking like an all-time great. Now that we're in Kansas City, let's just go straight down the interstate and pull up in Dallas. What's going on in Dallas? You got a bunch of third-string guys who've been cut from teams who need wide receivers, and then you tell me that Dak Prescott isn't good enough. Now, am I saying that Dak Prescott is going to be the next Warren Moon? Am I saying Dak Prescott is going to be the next Donovan McNabb? Hell no, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, how can you grade someone when everybody in football says Jason Garrett don't know what the hell he's doing? Man, this dude Jason Garrett don't know what the hell he's doing. Big time Dallas Cowboys fans like suspected white supremacist Skip Bayless is calling the man Coach Clap, saying all he does is clap. People are questioning if Jerry Jones is calling the plays. They're saying he's a lame duck coach, but you want a lame duck coach who you feel is inadequate to coach up a young man and make him a better player. There's a very rare situation where someone with great or very good coaching regresses. I've never seen someone regress under the tutelage of Bill Walsh. As a matter of fact, Steve Young progressed under him. He was a running, scrambling, white Randall Cunningham status dude. He introduced him to Bill Walsh. He's a Hall of Famer now. Nobody thought when he was at Tampa Bay and the Bass was kicking his ass twice a year, well, nobody looking at Steve Young talking about, oh yeah, when he was with the LA Express, they down there trying to make that boy a running back. But he get under the tutelage of Bill Walsh and Mike Holmgren and that crew, he's a Hall of Famer. I've never seen anybody regress under Jimmy Johnson. Look, the dude, the backup quarterback for if it helped me with the backup quarterback who took over for Brady when he blew out his knee, this dude hadn't played since high school. He went 4 years of college and did not play one snap. First time from high school to the pros, he started when Brady blew out his knee. And this dude won 11 games and tricked the league into league into a big time payday. But guess what? You leave that tutelage of Bill Belichick and you fall off. Jacoby Brissett excelled. And see, this is what I'm talking about. When you have proper guidance, you'll excel. And the question is, again, is Dak Prescott, Tim Tebow, Scott Frost, and others, are they getting the proper guidance? Or are they just that bad? Because I'm telling you, without the tool, only person I know excel without proper tools is a dude by the name of Moses in the Bible. And according to the Bible, it took God to be able to make Moses make brick without straw. So now, don't get me wrong. You got people like all-time greats like John Elway, like Dan Marino, and like a whole host of others that I won't go through the gambit, that they excel with average and below average talent, NFL caliber talent. So it can be done. But what happens if you're Phil Simms? What happens if you're Jim McMahon? What happens if you're Don Majkowski? names that were solid quarterbacks, even very good quarterbacks. Jeff Hostetler, Brad Johnson, guys like that. You need talent around you. Trent Dilfer. So what the question is, and what, I would love to have someone call in. If you're interested in having this conversation with me, just dial 773-797-2409. That's 773-797-2409. And I have that conversation with you, because it's just strange that for the most part the players get the blame because inefficient coaching. And it's not a black quarterback thing. It's not a white quarterback thing. It's just a piss poor coaching situation. You keep hiring these retreads, dudes that's been fired from 14 of the 32 teams, and but he gonna work for us. No, how about this? Seeing how the league has been made more quarterback friendly, more offense friendly, and traditionally the college ranks has never been known for being a vast bay of defensive juggernauts. Offense rules the day in college. Won't you start putting up some of these college coaches and have them inject some of that new life into the NFL, and then, and only then, I believe you'll be successful. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful, because I don't think Dak Prescott is a bust. I think he's a buster, but that's because of his stance on certain things. Being a bust in his profession, I don't believe that. I do believe that people like Mark Sanchez, formerly of the Jets, I think under the right tutelage, Rex Ryan was not the guy to coach him up. Under the right tutelage, I think Mark Sanchez could have been a solid quarterback. Joe Flacco has received solid coaching, therefore he excels, and he's put into situations to whereas he will that are advantageous to him, and he excels in those situations. But again, where did John Harbaugh come from? First and foremost, his dad is a coach. Second of all, he coached under Andy Reid, and lo and behold, they go that Bill Walsh, they go that Andy Reid, they go that Mike Holmgren, they go that Bill Walsh system, and then who did Bill Walsh learn under? Mike Brown, or Paul Brown, one of the innovators of the forward pass in modern day NFL. So, is it that these guys can't play, or is it that you guys can't coach? That's the question, because my entire life, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Last year, Avery Johnson, former point guard of the San Antonio Spurs, new coach at the University of Alabama, he is forced to play 3-on-5 in a real college basketball game, and they end up losing by like 4. And he did not go into that game saying, okay guys, at some point we're going to play 3-on-5, we're going to have to do. No, he adapted on the fly, and it put him in a situation to whereas he was able to excel. He taught people certain things in practice. They went over things in practice. They never assumed they'd be able to be forced to play that way, but he was able to adapt. That's what coaching is. So if you get a quarterback who runs like Michael Vick, don't try to turn him into Tom Brady, because that's not what he's done. He's 20 years old. He's been playing since he was 5 or 6 years old. He's 21 years old. He has not played like that for the last 15 years. So in order to get him to play the way you want him to play, you must be a Mike Shanahan and go to his previous coaches, see what he excelled at, and then put him in those situations as you wash him into your situation. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is go back to February 2018 and watch Nick Foles bum ass do his thing and win the Super Bowl. Because nobody, and I do mean nobody, not even Nick Foles, if they'd have told you when Carson Wentz was diagnosed with an ACL tear, nobody would have said, oh yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to win the Super Bowl because Nick Foles is the man. Nobody would have said that. Nick Foles' mama would have flew to Vegas and put money on him losing. So, especially looking at the last 2 games he played, that dude was terrible. He was straight morning breath. He was stinking. And guess what? Doug Peterson adapted a game plan in accordance to what he did well. And when they adapted the game plan,